Hello, welcome to Model Kit Stuff and welcome to the Wingnut Wings Gotha UWD build introduction video. In this video we'll be talking about how I propose to tackle the build, what products I'm going to be using, what my thoughts are in terms of things like the rigging, and just getting us to a point where we can start the build. So without further ado, let's crack open the box. So this is a 1:32 scale aircraft build. It's not a small aircraft at all. It's a large float plane. There is a first impressions video that I've already done on this. If you look in the Battle of the 132s playlist, you'll see a first impressions video of this, and I'll leave a link, if I remember, in the comments. Now, there is only one paint scheme for this aircraft because there was only ever one built. So in the first impressions I made the comment that you only get one paint scheme, not realising that that was why. But yes, there is only one paint scheme, and we're going to be having a look at what we need to do to get this together. So what we're going to be building is an open cockpit bi-winged float plane with twin engines. And a lot of what we're going to be doing is around natural wood. So all this dark you can see here is all natural wood grain. Same on the float. Natural grain. So I've bought some products to accompany the kit, and that's what we're going to focus on in this video. So let's have a look at that. So let's deal with paints to start with. The instructions call out Tamiya and Humbrol ranges, and it also gives you federal standard references for some of them. Now, there is some mixing called for in both of these, and particularly the grey paint, which is used quite extensively on the kit. It's a ratio of 10:1, so it's so subtle that it's almost white when you look at what it's asking you to do. So I've been through all of this and drawing from my inventory of paint. We're going to end up with a combination of acrylics and enamels, and we're going to be using Humbrol paints, MIG paints, Vallejo paints, and Tamiya paints. So there's a whole range of different paints being used depending on the colour. But generally we'll be using mainly Humbrol paints, and then we're swapping some of those out because either I've not got the Humbrol paint or I've got a different paint that I prefer, so with the metallics for example, or I've got a very good colour that's close to what's being called for. So for example, I've got a nice MIG natural pale wood colour, which I'm going to swap out for the light wood there. So there's a number of reasons why I'm swapping out paint, but primarily I'm going down the Humbrol route. Now, when it comes to the seat harnesses, there are two seat harnesses provided as photo etch within the kit, and they probably will paint up and look fairly good. You'll have to anneal them to make them malleable and be able to put them in the shape you want, because obviously we don't have figures for this. But actually what I've done is I've invested in a set of additional seat harnesses, which are a combination of material and photo etch. So I think these will just look a little bit more realistic. So I'm going to go with that. The seatbelt itself, if you've not come across this product, is a micro textile. So it'll behave in a similar way. Yeah, gonna give this a go, and hopefully we'll have a nice looking set of harnesses. See from the instructions on the back, they're not a simple set of things to build up, so that'll be quite an interesting set of additions that we need to put in. I think there's 2 seats and 2 sets we'll need. So when it comes to the wood effect, I'm going to try wood effect decals. Now, I've never done this before. I've only ever done my own painting effects, but I wanted to just try something a little bit different. So my understanding is that these are transparent and you have to paint a colour underneath, a pale colour, a light grey or something like that, and then this effectively has a grain, the decal is a grain, and you put it over. So this is one large sheet, so I thought that might be handy for some of the panels, but most of them are individual panels, and I thought that would look quite nice on things like the floats where we want to show some joins. So I've got all sorts of options here. They're all ever so slightly different. You can see they've got different numbers. Well, those are the same, but they've got different numbers, so there is some variation in there, but they're all the same colour, so it should tie everything in together. So like I say, I've never used them before, so how well they'll go down, whether I'll have problems, I don't know, but we're going to try them out on this build. Okay, rigging. I will not be using Easy Line. I will be using this. This is fishing line, 2 pound weighted fishing line, 0.12 millimeter. So it's nice and fine. It's a good, strong fishing line. I do sometimes use it for ship's rigging as well. But we're going to be using this. It needs to be coloured. So yes, we will be colouring it with paint pens or black marker or something like that. And then I'm going to be using proper turnbuckles from Bob's Buckles. Now, if you've not done these before, they are in some respects a little bit tricky, but in other respects really, really easy to use. So as long as you take your time with the drilling and you plan your approach, you should be okay. So we'll be using these turnbuckles to do the rigging along with the fishing line. So a traditional approach to the rigging, I guess. So when it comes to the finish of the model, what will I be doing? Well, this might be the only Wingnut Wings kit I ever build. It's the only one I own. They're very expensive to get hold of these days and a little bit difficult to justify the purchase of them, and we know they ain't ever coming back, unfortunately. So what I've decided is I want to show this off at its best, so I'm not going to be weathering it. I'm going to be doing it museum style. However, what I might well do is some shadow washes. So if you take, for example, the leather here and here, I'm not going to paint that one colour and leave it. I'm going to paint it one colour and then I'm going to give it a little bit of a wash to pick out the detail. But I'm not going to be weathering it to make it look old and worn and that sort of stuff. And partly that's not in keeping with the aircraft itself, which was the only one built, so it wasn't sort of, didn't see lots of combat and that sort of stuff, so it was a fairly well maintained vehicle. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to build it with respect for the brand and for the original aircraft and do it sort of museum style. When it comes to the propellers, which will also need to be wood effect, I can't use decals on those, and I don't want to use decals on those. Now, I believe we've got 2 different sets of propellers in the kit. So what I'll be doing right at the start of the build is I'll be taking some of the propellers out and doing a practice run. I have painted wooden propellers before, but it's been a long time. we'll be basically doing the propellers with oil paints. And building up the level of colours very slowly, and because of the drying time using tube oil paints, we need to first prove a process and effect that we're happy with. So that'll be right at the start of the build. We'll do the practice of those, so as we get towards the middle of the build we can start the propellers proper, because it's a case of do an undercoat, then do the next layer, then do the wood layers, then do the wood grain, then do the varnish. So it's quite a long process. So we need to do that at the start. Otherwise, I'm going to follow the build step by step as per the instructions, and we'll try and focus on the build in a way that we follow the logic of the instructions, and that way we make sure everything goes together nicely. It also means we'll dart around a little bit with building, painting, building, painting. So that is pretty much it for our build introduction. Now the build itself, I'm not quite ready to start. I'm still doing my tiger build, and we're at the point where everything's pretty much built. It's just a matter of painting. So as I've got lots of things starting to dry with the painting, I'll be starting to build this. And then as soon as the tiger videos finish, I should be about halfway through this when you first start seeing those videos. And I'm hoping that you'll start seeing this in October. So just a few weeks' time. Okay, take care everyone. I hope you're looking forward to this as much as I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be my first and possibly only Wingnut Wings experience. And I'd love it if you came and watched along with me. Thanks for looking in. You enjoy your modelling, and I will see you very soon.